Winona is certainly the character of all time. I'm not even exactly sure what she wants you to do while playing her. Originally she was just a turret builder that made a kill area and could craft things faster. Because of that, she was often just swapped off because there was no real reason to play her beyond building her catapult zones. Now she was given a skill tree to make her better off with her own tools, and also giving her the capabilities to do things like this. But even with all she could do, I think she is one of the worst characters in the game. There is something about her that just doesn't sit right as a gadget character. I think it's just due to how all over the place Winona's abilities are. Without her skill tree, Winona is actually worse off than how she was before the patch. And that's mainly due to how her tools function now. You see, previously they were stationary, and as soon as a generator was powered, they would activate and protect anyone in their range. This could be done with any character, so that means every character was able to use Winona's tools to full capacity. In order to change this to make Winona more unique, her tools now need to be activated. Now you can no longer activate the tools by fueling the generator. The player needs to interact with them. Once a tool is active, they will do whatever task is around. The only exemption is the spotlight, which is always active. Once activated, if there's no more targets in sight, they will go into sleep mode after 20 seconds. This was done to differentiate Winona from other characters. Now characters have to manually operate Winona's tools anytime they want to be used, and some of them they can't even touch without breaking. This also applies to Winona, the only difference being that Winona has skill points. For the price of a few skill points, she can turn them all on automatically and do various commands and even pick them up. This is stupid. The fact that Winona has to spend points to make her power better than the rest of the cast is just nonsense. It would be like if Wormwood had to buy the ability to plant quicker, or Warley needing to buy the ability to cook his special dishes. Stuff that just should be base kit. The thing is, Winona can do a lot. She can mass farm resources, she can automatically clean it all up, she can create immense teleport networks that not only transport her but resources around her, she can skip certain areas and basically have infinite lives. She also has limitless power to do thousands of damage a second. She can completely deny some bosses of their main abilities, and she can basically make the game play itself. But you know what's funny? All of that is solely in the top part of her skill tree, and half of it is only obtainable later on into the game. These pathways are currently what defines Winona at the moment. Which you choose depends entirely on how you like to play, whether you prefer storage and transportation or more freedom to move around. For the shadow path, it starts off with the rose glasses. These are the main items on this side of the tree. On its own, it's an infinite garland that allows you to access the shadow skills. The first of the shadow seekers only lets you find nightmare fuel by lurking at certain objects, while the second part allows for all the fun stuff. With this, you can create bridges, use wormholes and tentacles for teleportation across anywhere in the world, and examine any flower to turn it into a rose, giving Winona a free life that will take her to any portal, staircase, or nightlight, while also keeping your inventory with you, which is the only way to keep your inventory on death. And finally, you could also get pure horror. Every time you examine something for nightmare fuel, you have a 5% chance of getting pure horror instead. And you can increase this to 25% if you're examining anything in the ruins or the atrium. So you can actually get to use the Shadow Planner Strike early on in the game. It's great for its passive as it produces an area that slows creatures down by 30% and also does damage to them around 34 damage a second. The only thing is that creatures only take damage when they are moving through the brambles. So unfortunately, you can't make passive farms with this effect. You don't actually need many catapults to take advantage of it, and the effect stays for a whole day, so you can use this once for what you need and be done with it. You can set up at least 15 of these areas with one pure horror. This is actually the best catapult for fighting Fuel Weaver because it completely destroys the woven shadows during phase 2, and it also stun locks Fuel Weaver in hit stun, allowing you more time to take out the hands and do damage. In general though, this is just an AoE that you can run creatures through. It's honestly probably better for the catapults cause then they are more likely to hit creatures with their basic attacks. Plus you can potentially even protect the catapults if creatures get too close, because catapults won't attack if a creature gets too close. I kinda hate this mechanic. It makes catapults so vulnerable if you don't have more than one set of them established. The next is the Lunar Path. This allows you to craft inspector goggles to find cache boxes that give new items you can craft with. You have to use the perceiver you get in the cache boxes in order to get the items you don't have. You can scan the Wobot from the junkyard to get your own personal storage cleaning device. And from the advanced boxes, you'll get transmissions you can scan for the telebrilla and the telepad. You could also use the perceiver you get from the boxes to learn any recipes you don't know. So if you find like a dark sword from a boon, you can scan it and learn the dark sword recipe without needing the manipulator. The telebrilla and the telepad are interesting because you can set up one at the base and it becomes basically an easy go back home button. You can actually set up multiple stations and teleport between them, but the only sad part is you will only teleport to the closest one. This is where I advocate for mods. There's a mod made by Electroly that allows you to easily set up telestation pads that are the same distance from each other, meaning that you can sit on one side of the telepad or the other and determine which pad you would teleport to. You can do this in the base game, but the math required to do it manually is nearly impossible. So the mods help out greatly, plus it also shows you with an arrow which telepad you'll be teleported to. So you can create a perfect network of telepads to traverse the world. The best thing about the telebrilla is the fact that you can teleport other things with you, so long as they are in range. Next is the Windbot. This is definitely something good for your storage needs because it will auto stack items into storage. You kind of need to have your storage area set up already in order to take advantage of it, but I think doing so early will save so much more time from having to manually sort through chests. Another thing is they work automatically, so you can be working on farms, collecting resources, and the Windbots will go and auto clean up everything in range. The Lunar Catapults help with this too. Instead of an AoE like the Shadow, the Lunar Strike is a nuke. It does a lot of damage and will also destroy structures and objects. So you can use this offensively, but also for your farms. Eventually you can also make this catapult infinite with enlightened shards from the champion. And this is kind of the problem. A lot of Winona's fun stuff is mostly late game items. You can create infinite power, however you have to go through one of the most tedious side quests in order to get them. A lot of the top shelf really requires a lot of effort to achieve, so the bottom shelves should totally help out with that, right? Nah. No, not really. The middle shelves are only for small stat upgrades to the catapults and generators. Granted, getting a bigger area does help for the planner strikes and how much they cover for their destructive area, but other than that, there are 9 skill points here that can basically become 4. I feel like you can combine a couple of these into 1 or 2 upgrades, boosting them to the maxes where they are. The small percents that you get from each upgrade don't really do anything from a day-to-day life in Winona, and it just sucks that all of her points really are just for her buildings. Without her buildings, Winona can only really use 4 of her perks, those only being the main Shadow and Lunar perks. I think Winona's skill tree needs to be looked at again, kinda like the Wormwood skill tree, where they gave him more afterwards to match him up with the other characters. But I think the problem is, Klei may think Winona is too strong. I mean, look at all the stuff she can do when she is set up. No other characters can do stuff like this, and so Winona has to be weakened by being a nothing character without her tools. But I don't think she needs to be that way. She needs just a little bit more to differentiate her from others on base. The best way to do that is making portability and the remote that she has base kit. This allows Winona to already be better with her catapults than the other characters on base. And as for making some new upgrades for her, I think there should be a Winona part of the tree that allows her to boost herself a little bit more than just her gadgets. Like, what about an upgrade that boosts Winona's attack rate while she is in her crafting mode? Meaning you can craft an item, lose hunger, and for that minute duration that you can craft at double speed, you can also chop, mine, or attack 50% faster. This was a problem so much for me while I was playing Winona. I'm more of a craft as you go player, so a lot of times I would craft something as Winona and just waste the hunger that she has for her crafting buff. So I thought, why not add a small bonus to make it seem like Winona's going into an overdrive mode in order to give a reward for taking advantage of her crafting. That's really all I would ask for. Winona is really strong, but she has lots of flaws that make her weak. But Winona really does have most of the tools for the job. She just needs a little bit more to become a true handy woman. Thank you all for watching. I feel Winona was done dirty by her update. Majority of the time, skill trees just boost what a character already can do. But Winona's actively made her base skill worse. It's so unfortunate how she is treated, and she needs a glow up. Let me know what you think below. I want to say thank you for my channel members. If you would like to join and help support me, you can do so. It only takes $1. You get access to the members only role on Discord, and you also get access to members only streams and the members only server. So if you ever wanted to play a game with me, this is the best chance for you to do so. I hope you enjoyed. Until next time, this has been Tara, and take care.